Hello everyone and welcome to Life Begins at 20. My name is Mark and today we have the last of the Aether Revolt product openings here with both of the Planeswalker decks. Now these were introduced when they got rid of the intro decks to get new players into the game. I'm a little bit on reserved for my personal opinion of them because I would prefer to see newer players starting off with the Deck Builders Toolkit. Probably one of these as well, to be perfectly honest. Again, we'll have a look through, see if they've improved over the first iterations of them, which were in Kaladesh, to see if the decks themselves are a little bit better. So let's just get stuck into. I'm going to start off with Ajani here, just because I prefer him as a Planeswalker myself. So inside each of the boxes we get the Planeswalker deck. We should also get a deck box and a couple of booster packs as well. So just pop Ajani out of there. Move all of that to one side. I mean, it's a nice foil artwork there. These Planeswalkers aren't supposed to be as good as the ones obviously in Standard. Just because more people end up buying these, and it's just a nice way of getting people into the way that Planeswalkers work. So there's two booster packs. You've got a guide here for Ajani of how learning to play Magic. You should have a deck list in here as well of everything. I mean, the nice piece of artwork on there. Ways to boost your deck, what is in the deck as well, so full deck list there. And a little bit more about Ajani as a Planeswalker and where to go next. So obviously it's telling you maybe get the second one. I mean, playing against each other, two new people might be quite good. Magic Jewels, I can't recommend that application enough for a new player starting off Magic. That really helped me, just because it's a really nice tutorials for how all the different mechanics work. So again, if you're new to the game, definitely go check that out onto your iPhone or tablets or anything on those lines. And the Deck Builders Toolkit as well, which is a really good start for someone. So moving back to Ajani here, it's a 4-cost loyalty Planeswalker. So it's 6 cost for a 4 loyalty Planeswalker, which is pretty expensive. +2, put 2/1/1 counters on target creature. That's actually quite cool. So with this deck, as far as I'm aware, it's just going to be like a +1/+1 counter theme. The +1 here is reveal cards on top of your library until you reveal a creature card, put it into your hand, and the rest on the bottom of your library in any order. So you've got a nice creature tutor there. Again, you're not necessarily going to be able to choose the creatures, just whichever one comes up next, but still quite handy to have there. And the -11, whether you can get to that or not, I have no idea when playing these two decks playing against each other. Put X +1/+1 counters on target creature, where X is your life total, and it gets trampled to the end of turn. So that's just a nice finisher to have there. I just do like the artwork on that. So we'll have a look quickly. I only got a quick reference guide as well, bunched in with this deck. I mean, what you're getting with these decks here is hopefully something playable. I can't even get into this. It's interesting. It's on the back. So what you're getting with these starter decks here is not necessarily the most consistent one, because obviously there's only a couple of each of the cards, only one of each of the rares, so you're not getting that side of things, but you're getting the opportunity to try out a load of new mechanics, see a lot of different creatures, and then use this potentially as a base to improve if you like the mechanic of it. And there are some cards within these starter decks which actually don't exist inside of any of the booster packs as well. So there may well be a reason to get them. They're all legal standard as well. Legal in standard. Get my words out. So you never know. They may end up becoming quite useful. So we just have a quick look here. We've got ourselves Solemn Recruit. Ajani's Aid is one of the ones where I love that artwork as well. One of the ones that isn't. I've got a couple of those that isn't in the rest of the booster packs. Aid from the Cow. You've got Narnum Renegade, which is a really nice creature there for Revolt trigger, so it looks like +1/+1 counter, and Revolt's going to be the thing going on here. Again, this is the other creature within this deck that isn't in the rest of the booster packs. So again, you need +1/+1 counters, and just lots of small creatures. So, there's going to be some interesting creatures. Again, I think there's going to be some from Kaladesh as well in here, so you mix them both up. So you can see a little bit of both. Armorcraft Judge, again, +1/+1 counter themes. Ridgeguard Tusker's quite cool. It's a shame we only got one of him, to be honest. But again, there's the two booster packs as well that come with, so they may end up having a way of improving these decks as well. I mean, Prey Upon's really nice to see that. natural obsolescence. Unbridled Growth's a really nice way of getting that revolt trigger, just because you can either sacrifice it to do that, and getting yourself some mana as well, which is quite nice to have. Again, more +1/+1 counters. You got 4 of that one, which is quite nice. You got yourself a couple of dual colour land, and then you've got your forests and plains as well. So as a starter deck, it looks pretty decent. There may well be some better things in there that could have been done. I would have liked to potentially have seen a few more 4-ofs, because that's the way you generally build yourself a deck anyway. But we're going to open up these boosters now just to see what we can grab for this deck and see what might be an improvement. I mean, this is a nice thing as well in here, giving them 2 booster packs just to see if there's anything inside that may well be an improvement over the deck. So we'll have a quick look through. Unbridled Growth if we needed another one. Combat Trick for creatures. Well, Fast Engineer, that's not going to work. That's for vehicles there. Reverse Engineer. Lifecrafters Bestiary, on the other hand, that would actually be a really nice upgrade into that. So that's something nice to have seen. I do like that. That would definitely work out in that deck quite well. Green and white being what we're going for. And then if you're casting creatures, which is going to be a lot of, you can get some extra card draw. So we'll see what else is in this booster pack. Natural Obsolescence, Lifecast Cavalry, who's got a few in there already. Conviction, Constant Dreadnought. Yahenni's really nice, and you got yourself a 4 planes if you wanted to put that in there. I mean, Yahenni's really nice, but wouldn't necessarily fit into that deck. So we're now going to go and move on to the Tezzeret deck and see what that one's like. So moving on to the Tezzeret's deck, I'm just going to quickly open this up. I probably should have done this off camera, to be perfectly honest, but hey ho. So we're going to expect exactly the same style of things. We're going to get, obviously, the deck. We're going to get the foil Planeswalker here, which is going to be slightly underpowered in comparison to, obviously, the Tezzeret that is coming out of the normal boosters. It's a decent size deck boxes as well. I forgot to mention with Ajani, they're really nice size deck boxes. I'm pretty sure you'd be able to get sleeved cards into them as well. So I know they're obviously made of cardboard and everything, but I mean the artwork's really nice as well. But it's a good start, a good size, because normally you'd end up getting, especially with like dual decks or something along those lines, you're going to get yourself some really small deck boxes which can't hold sleeved cards. I mean, the artwork's nice again there. Tips on boosting the deck, card list again. And again, where to go next as well. So getting the other Johnny deck to play against each other, deck builds toolkit and so on. So, and a little bit about him as well. So I'm just going to put that to one side. We'll leave those two to one side. Let's have a look at the Planeswalker here. So, it's this time it's 6 cost for a 5 loyalty, so slightly beefier up than Ajani's one. +1 reveal cards from top of your library until you reveal an artifact card, put it into your hand, and the rest in the bottom of your library in any order. Sorry, random order. Okay. So again, you got yourself a little tutor there to get yourself some artifacts or try and find yourself something quicker, which is nice enough. -3, target opponent loses life equal to the number of artifacts you control. You can probably, by the looks of this anyway, this deck, you're going to control a lot of artifacts, and that could probably do some serious damage. And -8 is gain control of all artifacts and all creatures target opponents control. If you can get to that, that's going to end up probably winning you the game as well. So they're quite they seem to be pretty well matched against each other. I'll just leave that to the side there, so that they both can win by themselves. I mean, that's what you want to see from a Planeswalker anyway. The ability to win a game, and gets young new players introduced to those mechanics as well. Because I remember when seeing my first Planeswalker, I opened up inside of Shadows over Innistrad booster, and to be perfectly honest, when I first saw them, I had no idea what I was supposed to be doing with them. Originally, when me and my mate, when we first started, we were thinking we could use the abilities at instant speed, and found out that we couldn't. Again, do check out that Magic Jewels application on the phone, because going through all of the abilities and all that kind of stuff is going to be really, really useful for you. It breaks it down step by step, and you can practice in that game as well. So I can't recommend that enough, especially for a new player. So again, looking through here, we've got ourselves a few rare artifacts there, or artificers to find yourself artifacts. Tezzeret's Portrayal is the rare here that isn't inside normal boosters. Destroying target creature may search your library or graveyard for a card named Tezzeret, so you can bring him back and put it into your hand. So that's quite a nice thing there. Ornithopter's always great. I just wish there's probably one more of those. Again, with the cards from Kaladesh that work well with artifacts. Treasure Keeper, again, I would have liked to see another one of those. I mean, again, these decks aren't supposed to be amazing. They are supposed to be there to give players the opportunity to learn how to play. I have no issues with that at all. It's just a case of I would have liked to have seen just a few like 4-ofs, play sets and things like that of some even the lesser cards, just so you can get used to seeing how the deck works. I'm trying to figure out which one. What was the other? Oh, it was Tezzeret's Simulacrum, I guess, would be the other one that isn't inside of the boosters. I think it's this one anyway. 3 cost 2/3. Tap it, target plays and loses a life. If you control Tezzeret, it loses 3 instead. That's pretty nice to have. Again, so they seem to be pretty decent enough decks to play against each other. They're probably really well suited. If I've got time, I would try and record that, because that'd be quite fun to do. I'm definitely going to play both of these decks against my girlfriend, and we'll see how they end up playing, if they play quite well, and we just enjoy ourselves really, because again, that's the main thing about Magic. I know obviously it's going to be a case of opening up some amazing cards, putting these amazing decks together for Standard and so on, but at the end of the day, playing the game is the most important part, especially for a new player. Play that game, get a deck builder's toolkit along with these two things as well, and just end up brewing some decks, improving these decks as well, and it'd be quite a nice way of getting into the hobby. So we're just going to have a look and see if we can find something in these 2 booster packs that will end up improving this Tezzeret deck. So again, Artifact Store is going to be a good shout. Foundry Assembler again. Negate's always quite useful as more of a control style thing. Implement of Ferocity, that's a green mana unfortunately. Some of these would probably be better off in Ajani's deck. Hope of Gearpool, now that would be really good for this deck as well, so that's nice to see. And then for our last booster pack, let's see what we can find. So Watchful Automaton, that might actually be quite handy. A bit of removal there. Improvise counter spells is always quite handy. Again, some other artifacts that you can end up getting rid of later on in the game. There's probably more things suited for the other one. Another Ornithopter as well, so I'm really happy to see that for this deck. Greenbelt Rampager, I'm not sure this can be great for either of the decks, to be perfectly honest. Probably more suited to Ajani, but this is going to be really fun in a green-red energy combo. And we've got ourselves a foil Renegade's Gateway, so that's quite cool. I like the foil on that. Looks really nice, and that'll probably sit well with this deck as well. Overall, I think these Planeswalker decks here are really good for starting players. I would definitely recommend buying one of these and a deck builder's toolkit, just so you can see how to build some decks as well, because again, a major part of Magic is building decks. These are great straight out of the box to learn how to play. You get to see some of the mechanics as well. For a new player, definitely getting one of these and a deck builder's toolkit would be my general word of advice. Or if you've got 2 children, or there's 2 of you that want to start playing, you and your mate, get one of these each, get a deck builder's toolkit each, or even between you, and just play against each other, learn how to play this game, build some decks. You can probably get a couple of decks out of that deck builder's toolkit, or 1 each anyway. And definitely get Magic Jewels on your phone, your iPad, any of your tablets or something along those lines, and use that application to learn how to play this game, because it can be complicated. I mean, I'm still learning stuff. Everybody is still going to be learning different mechanics, how it works, how they different work, and interactions between cards. So don't ever feel that when playing this game is quite complicated, that asking for help, go for it. It doesn't matter. No one will think any less of you for asking for help. That Magic Jewels app is absolutely fantastic. It tells you everything. It goes step by step, and you can practice just specific things. So if you wanted to learn how to use Planeswalkers properly, that app will have a tutorial for you on there and how to do it, and they go through mini tutorials as you're playing in the game. So you'll start off with how combat works, casting cards and all that kind of stuff, and when you get to a certain point where there's a mechanic that comes up, it'll just say, okay, do you want to do this tutorial first to learn how this interacts, and then you carry on with your game. So I can't recommend that enough. I'm actually quite pleased with these Planeswalker decks. I think they're probably slightly better than I gave them credit for to start with, although I would have liked to have seen 4 ofs or play sets or a few more of the same cards in there, just for a bit of consistency, so you know, once you play them a few times, what kind of cards you're expecting to happen. Because if you're waiting for a one of certain cards you've got in this deck, you know, you're not necessarily going to believe, oh, okay, I haven't seen it yet, so I've got a good chance of picking it up. It's just going to be quite fluky to be able to, or, you know, quite lucky to be able to actually pick that up. So overall, yes, these are good enough products. They're better than the intro decks for sure. Planeswalkers you're not going to use outside of these decks anyway, unless you're playing a little bit casually, so that is definitely fine. There may be some cards in there that aren't in the normal booster packs that may well be quite useful standard. We'll wait and see once the Pro Tour comes along and other things like that, or any of the other budget style decks. We'll wait and see. But no, they look good fun to play, and that is the main thing. It's just playing this game, learning how to build decks. Those 2 booster packs may get you something great as well. So overall, I think this is a pretty good product. If you enjoyed the video, please hit that thumbs up button and hit the subscribe button if you haven't already, because it's really helping my channel to grow. We're pushing on, getting closer to 400. My target for the year is to try and get up to 1,000, so that'd be amazing if you guys could all help for that. Thank you all so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.